Sin Ming, 3rd Chinese Patriarch of Zen. Greetings from the Red Rocks in Sedona, Arizona. If you've been with me on the journey through my other 6 renderings on this book, thanks for sticking with me. If you're new, there's a link below to the playlist in the description where you can listen to my other commentaries on here. Also, before we get started, if you want to support my channel, you can subscribe and click the little bell to be notified when videos come out. So I'm going to do the reading first, and then I'm going to do a little bit of commentary on it. So here's how the end of the little booklet goes. All is empty, clear, and self-illuminating, with no need to exert the mind. Hair, thinking, feeling, understanding, and imagination are of no value. In this world, as it really is, there's neither self nor other than self. To know this reality directly is possible only through practicing non-duality. When you live this non-separation, all things manifest the one and nothing is excluded. Whoever comes to enlightenment, no matter when or where, realizes personally this fundamental source. This Dharma truth has nothing to do with big or small, with time and space. Here a single thought is as 10,000 years. Not here, not there, but everywhere, always right before your eyes. Infinitely large and infinitely small, no difference, for definitions are irrelevant, and no boundaries can be discerned. So likewise with existence and non-existence. Don't waste your time in arguments and discussions attempting to grasp the ungraspable. Each thing reveals the one manifests as all things. To live in this realization is not to worry about perfection or non-perfection. To put your trust in the heart-mind is to live without separation. And in this non-duality, you are one with your life source. Words, words, the way is beyond language, for in it there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. So we start off with all is clear, empty, and self-illuminating, with no need to exert the mind. So what that means is if we're living in harmony with the Tao, in harmony with the universe, things flow naturally and we don't have to strive and strain and push ourselves. We don't have to panic and go crazy and get really anxious to get things done. Without exerting our mind, everything takes care of itself. And that's what is called in Taoism and Zen Buddhism non-action or non-striving. So it says here, in this state of enlightenment, thinking, feeling, understanding, and imagination are of no value. In this world as it really is, there's neither self nor other than self. So what it's saying is that it's basically undescribable, and that there is no self inherent, like separate me, but there's nothing other than myself as well. So basically I am and encompass the whole universe, or it could be thought of as there's no separate Alex that's like fighting and striving and up against the universe. So and that's where it comes together, like the idea of us being a soul, us not existing, or us being God or the entire universe. It comes together where it says there's neither self nor other than self. And it says to know this reality directly is possible only through practicing non-duality. So you can only figure it out by letting go of your separateness, by not distinguishing everything, by not categorizing everything, by not seeing everything as this and that, by not looking as battles, by not being so opinionated. And when it says when you live this non-separation, when you don't discriminate, all things manifest the one and nothing is excluded. So everything everywhere at all times manifests God, or the source energy. Everything is God in manifestation and nothing's excluded. Not even the person that you don't like isn't excluded, or the political candidate that you hate is excluded, or the animal that you think is disgusting isn't excluded, or some byproduct of society such as carbon emissions or somebody's feces or something gross, that's not excluded. All things, whether beautiful or ugly, manifest the one. And what it says here is whoever comes to enlightenment, no matter when or where, realizes personally this fundamental source. So whoever comes to enlightenment, whether Jesus, whether Buddha, whether Krishna, whether a Hindu, a Muslim, a Jew, a Zen, a Sufi, they've all realized fundamentally that all is one. And that's where like the mountaintop comes together. So we all have these different religions and spiritual practices, and they all lead to the same culmination. That's what he's saying here, is it's not a different realization. Realizing this oneness is the culmination of all spiritual practice. This truth has nothing to do with big or small or time or space, not here, not there, but everywhere, always right before your eyes. And that's why it says a little further down, likewise with existence and non-existence, because in Buddhism especially, that's talked about a lot, like this world being existence and the unmanifest being non-existence, or the formless, or the spirit world. And what he's kind of saying here is like, those are just terms and they're really irrelevant. Like, it all is part of God, whether it's the form or the formless, and no boundaries can be discerned because it all flows into each other. So this is like realizing we don't even our ideas of spirituality, or our ideas of the soul or heaven and earth are ultimately just ideas, and like they are fabrications, and it really is all God, whether it is the material world or the spiritual world. So it goes on to say, don't waste your time in arguments and discussions attempting to grasp the ungraspable. So, which is kind of, we're sort of in a discussion right now, which is pretty ironic, but arguing with people about minor details or thoughts, or like, what is the mind? What is the soul? What is this versus that? What happens when you die? Do you go to heaven? Do you go to hell? Do you take rebirth? Those kinds of things. What is the ultimate state of nirvana or moksha or liberation or the kingdom of heaven? So he's saying here that it's ungraspable and undefinable. So like, it's good to have sort of an intellectual understanding to start on your path, but you don't want to go crazy arguing about it or trying to deduce it or like figure out exactly what it means. Like, a lot of people talk about the soul. In this book they call it the heart mind, and even in the introduction to this book, Richard B. Clarke, the one who translated this, says, don't try and figure out what the heart mind is. Don't intellectually try to be like, what are they trying to say? Because it's undefinable. So, and I've been there myself, where I've been bogged down in a lot of mental anguish by trying to intellectualize the spiritual process too far. And I think it is a part of the process, like taking in those paradoxes that seem to not make sense or that seem contradictory, but really they meet at a certain point. And so you kind of go through that stage and then come out of it realizing they are all talking about the same thing. And so to finish off, it says, each thing reveals the one manifests as all things. So even including you, reveal God, and God manifests as everything. So everything is it, and it repeats that over and over in here, but it's so true, you know, and everybody you know reveals it, your personality traits reveal it, and that's why it says here to not to worry about perfection or non-perfection, which is interesting because we try to get better, and we do more move towards perfection as we become more enlightened, as we wake up. But what he's saying is, ultimately what Zan is saying is that their non-perfection is still a part of manifesting the one. So even your bad personality traits, even your pet's bad personality traits, are just as much a part of God as the good ones too. And it's tough to think about that, because it's like, people going to war are just as much a part of God as people in peace, or like people that are enslaving others are as much a part of God as people who aren't, which is tough to think about it like that, but it's like a part of the yin and the yang, the rise and fall of the universe. Like, God does manifest as all these things, and sometimes they are cruel things, although ultimately we're free and we're not stuck in this. This is just illusory. So even though it seems real and painful, it's like, it is a dream, and you have to forgive the dream. And like Hafiz says that in his poetry, like, when you have enough courage to forgive the dream. Or Rumi says, you know, when you start to wake up, you'll realize there was never any harm done. Because it's like, I could be suffering and I could be in a lot of pain, and then I die and I wake up and I realize what my suffering was, that it was illusion, even though it seemed so real at the time. So it's just a balance in perspective. And then it says, to put your trust in the heart mind is to live without separation. And in this non-duality, you're one with your life source. You're one with the universe. And the last part is just words. The way is beyond language. For in it, there's no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. So I will just leave you to contemplate that last verse on your own. For in it, there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. And if you stay tuned, I will do one more video without my commentary where I read through this whole book in full. So thank you, and enjoy your day. And now here's a break with a message from our sponsors. Are you tired of paying too much to H&R Block or others to prepare your tax return? Are you finally done pulling your hairs out over TurboTax or worrying about whether you completed your Form 1040 correctly? Well, worry no longer. With Momcilovic Tax and Accounting, you're in great hands. With over 35 years of experience and over 250 clients to show for, CPA Mile Momcilovic is the accountant you can trust. Straightforward, inexpensive, professional. All it takes is 3 easy steps. Step 1. Email or text us for more information. Step 2. Receive an invite email to load your data. Step 3. Review and sign your returns electronically in a safe and secure way. The best part about it, he can do your taxes and accounting no matter what state you're in. If you want a knowledgeable licensed expert, he's your guy, with tax returns starting at $125 for single filers and $150 for joint filers. You are guaranteed a fair price and excellent service. Stop the worrying and leave it up to the professional. Email Mile at info@momcilovicaccounting.com, text him at 773-578-0996, or go to momcilovicaccounting.com. Website link and contact information can be found in the description below. To learn more, follow Momcilovic Tax and Accounting on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Also, if you have any tax or accounting related questions, feel free to contact Mile free of charge. Start your journey of a stress-free tax season today.